On the road to MotoGP, this is FAB-Racing.
Clayton taking a hat-trick of wins to open up this season as the blue skies open up a lovely days of flying for the lucky ones that have got enough to fly their way around Lydd Airport. But of course we're here in the sunny southeast of England, which I've called home for many, many years. And don't call me, but I think it's the best place in the country. I'm sure many people would disagree with me, however.
I think it's the airport.
However, we are here and we are enjoying another 2 rounds of brilliant racing to open up FAB season. And, it's a little bit of a stark contrast to last season. Of course, we opened up the racing last season with a day like today, and the Sunday was, well, if you were here, it was very wet. If you weren't here, it was even wetter. It was a good weekend because you saw so many different opportunities for different races to put some times in. We saw Mason Foster take his first win in the 70s on a circuit where it was Johnny Garness versus Casey O'Gorman, but Mason Foster showing that he could turn up in the wet, which shows you that these different conditions, and this is what we're kind of harping back to that sort of battle between Archie Gibbs and Archie O'Brien. Perhaps we see a race in the wet later on in the season. Archie Gibbs might turn it on, Archie O'Brien might struggle.
Yeah, I mean, the wet always throws up something different, but for these GP50 guys, I mean, Clayton Edmunds in the wet last year was always really, really fast. So if it rains here, there's not much hope for them because he's going to be fast in the wet and fast in the dry. And that's exactly what makes a champion. He's been winning all the races, and if it did rain tomorrow, he would go out and probably win as well. So that is exactly what makes a champion, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Marco Holt seems to be the only person who's going to be able to stick with Clayton Edmunds. But does it look like Clayton's having a little bit of a technical problem? Will he be able to get out in this race? He looks a little bit distraught there. No, everything looks okay. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if anything does happen later in the race.
Oh, you drama queen, trying to build up some suspense there. But yeah, Clayton Edmunds back out on circuit. He's managed to get out and get underway. And as you say, he will be looking at making it a 4th win from 4 in this MKGP 50 class. He said that he's targeting the championship. Well, he's opened up his season in the absolute perfect fashion as they all start to roll around to the grid, as you've got the 14 of Bill Harris finding his grid position. Of course, younger brother of Ronnie Harris, who we'll see in the MKGP 70s. Ronnie, of course, runner-up in the 50s in this class to Ethan Sparks last season. And Bill showing earlier on that he can make moves. He made his way up through the order quite nicely up into a top 6 position was Bill Harris, and so the 14 definitely one to watch as he gets a little bit more confidence on the bike later on in the season. But it is the 146 that will be rolling into P1, and Clayton, who's pretty much had the rubber to green all weekend long so far, and he's been in absolutely sensational form. He'll be looking at making it 4 from 4. The 58, however, Marco Holt, he'll definitely have something to say about that because Marco has been looking very strong, especially off the starts as they get ready to take the lights for their opening round of round 2. It's Clayton Edmunds, Marco Holt on the first row. Who gets the run off the line? It looks as though Clayton Edmunds has absolutely got a rocket start in towards turn 1. He holds onto it. Marco Holt in second. It's a great getaway from your pole sitter.
Yeah, really good start from Clayton Edmunds. Not so good of a start from Marco Holt. Lost a lot of time there. We saw earlier on in the weekend as well, he was struggling with a couple of starts. He's had a good one, had a couple of ones where he struggled with, but of course, still getting used to gearbox bike machinery and getting used to starting with a clutch, of course, because he won't have had to do that on Minimotos in the past. So learning all the time as Marco Holt, of course, in his debut weekend here in the Mini GP50s. Of course, it is round 2, but it is still his first weekend of racing. And there's plenty of riders that are looking to try and get up onto the back of him. Ollie Sims having a look at Harry Paine. Harry Paine having a look at Luke Schofield. All of these guys trying to have one up on each other. But Clayton Edmunds has already checked out at the front. So it's going to be down to these guys to see if they can do anything about that. Still a long, long way to go in this race. But Clayton already looking very, very strong indeed. Marco Holt now leading this group of big Gagler riders battling for that 2nd place. Marco Holt, Luke Schofield, Harry Paine, Ollie Sims all in there, and Josh Williams just on the back of them as well. Josh Williams now has made his way around Ollie Sims, so now that is Josh Williams up into 5th place as well.
Yeah, and Harry Paine having a really good run at the moment in 4th position. Harry Paine, possibly one of the smiliest lads in the paddock. Always such a nice little guy to talk to. Always happy to have a chat with us. And of course, sponsored by Glen Irwin this season. And he's done a terrific job so far. Just getting more and more confident. Every time he gets back on the bike, he just shows a little bit more pace. And yeah, it's great to see him improving. He's trying, of course, to stay on board with Luke Schofield in third position at the moment. But Harry, he's got Josh Williams just behind him, and Josh wanting to make up some positions. He's equally making that move up to the MKGP 50s and doing a good job, just getting, as we say, some of these riders making their way up from the smaller bikes to the bigger bikes. The first time they're using geared bikes, and it's all about learning this MKGP 50 class.
Yeah, absolutely. It's their first taste of racing on a gearbox bike after they've moved up from the AC40 rookies, the AC40 pros, the LC40 elites, all those Minimoto classes. Once they've moved up, they then have a go at the MKGP 50 class, of course, for riders between 9 to 15 years old. And it is their first chance at having a go at a clutch, having a go at a bike that's a bit higher up as well. They're used to being very close to the floor on those Minimoto machines. And it looks as if Warwick Brady's off to the side of the circuit there, so perhaps a mechanical or a crash perhaps for the number 99, so not the way he will have wanted to start round 2 here at Lydd. But the number 58 still leading this battle. No one's quite making any moves just yet. They're all just having a look at each other, just figuring out where they can try and make a move towards the end of this race.
Yeah, Marco Holt just pretty much the bottleneck here as he just holds on to second position. Luke Schofield, Harry Paine, Josh Williams and Ollie Sims all trying to go with them. Bill Harris a little bit further back, 4.7 seconds back with Noah Guillory. Isaiah Devine in 9th place, and as you said, Warwick Brady pulling off to the side of the circuit with an issue, and the 99 not with a happy first race to round 2. But Marco Holt doing a good job, as we said, making his first appearance on the bigger bikes this weekend in this MKGP 50 class, and currently he's picked up a couple of podiums, and Luke Schofield equally some decent results for Luke. Harry Paine only 0.2 of a second back. You've got to think, Trystan, that at some point this is all going to come to a head. You've got five bikes all fighting over second position. Someone's going to make a move. They've got 7 laps left to do it, and well, they all want that podium.
Yeah, they're all going to be wanting to be on that podium. They're battling for the final 2 spots on the podium. Second and third is currently Marco Holt, who is in second, and Luke Schofield in third. Of course, the Twitch game streamer as well. Nice to have a couple of hobbies there for the number 64 of Luke Schofield. As Harry Paine was just having a look at the inside, didn't quite make a move stick there. Almost thought that he was going to make a move, but just thought better of it there, did the number 11 of Harry Paine. Like we said, sponsored by Glen Irwin. A really nice story behind that one, of course. Harry Paine naming Glen Irwin as his favourite rider, and Glen putting in a little bit of help towards his racing career as well. So that is brilliant to see riders at the top of BSB coming back and helping out the younger generations.
Yeah, and very thankful is Harry Paine, because he's absolutely delighted to have Glen Irwin's name stickered on the side of his bike, and he's now fighting over a podium, which I'm sure would delight him even further. He's just got to get his way past Luke Schofield. Clayton Edmunds, we haven't said too much of him about so far this race. He's now up to 5.3 seconds in the lead this one, a fastest lap that's 0.3 of a second faster than anyone else, and really just enjoying himself, it seems. Yeah,
there's not much to say about him. He's just cleared off at the front, and yeah, I mean, made it easy for us, because we can see that he's definitely leading this one. There's no two ways about it on the timing screens or anything like that. So yeah, he's just flying out in front of this one, a 44.8. But now, actually, that is Marco Holt with the fastest lap of the race with a 44.8 on that last lap, matching Clayton Edmunds' fastest lap from earlier on. Bit of a tall order to go and catch him, only with 7 laps and not a hell of a lot left of this race. So it looks as if with 5.3 seconds gap, it would be a tall order for Marco Holt to be able to go and catch him, because Clayton's incredibly consistent as well.
Yeah, he is, and we've seen this. He was sort of that perennial on the outside of the podium last season, involved in that battle, of course, with Ronnie Harrison and Ethan Sparks, and he was finishing in podium positions, and occasionally he'd get that race win, and you thought eventually he was going to have to be that breakout star. He was going to start to push forward and become that the top dog in that class, and he's decided to run in both the 50s and the 70s this season, and it's clearly paying dividends. He's getting good bike time on both bikes and doing well in both. You can see in the 70s he's been running well within the top 8 this season so far, and here in the 50s, well, he's absolutely running away with it.
Yeah, and don't forget, I mean, Clayton was a rider last year who was on podium pace and winning races over in the GP70 category as well. So really brilliant stuff from the number 146. He's taken all three wins in round 1, and now he's looking to win the first race here in round 2 as he makes his way around the final corner for the final time, comes across the line to pass the checkered flag, and I believe he's taken the win there.
I don't believe he has. I think you've still got 2 laps left to go. What are you looking at? It's you can see as they've still got plenty of racing left to go. Trystan's clearly living in a couple of minutes ahead of me, but yeah, Clayton Edmunds, a little bit more time left to go. Marco Holt in second position, Luke Schofield. However, last time around, Harry Paine, fastest lap of the race for Harry Paine, 44.725 is just about 6 thousandths of a second faster than Marco Holt's fastest time. So look, Harry not giving up. He's desperately trying to get this first podium of the season. He's got to get past a resilient Luke Schofield in 3rd place though, and the laps are starting to run out as Clayton comes around. He's about to take the last lap board, and everyone else getting ready for one final tour of this Lydd circuit for the first race of round 2. Of course, 2 rounds this weekend here. Round 1 has already been completed and is in the books. We've now started round 2, and the MKGP 50s around circuit completing their first race, and currently it's Clayton Edmunds leading away just under a 5 seconds advantage over Marco Holt and Luke Schofield. Harry Paine back in 4th place, desperately trying to claw in, but it's looking ever so close. But Clayton Edmunds coming down the back straight, doesn't even have to worry about this one. He's just coming into the final corner for the final time, rounding that last corner. He's about to see that flag you all want to see in the lead. It's the checkered flag for Clayton Edmunds, and another race win in the MKGP 50s. Behind, across the line in quick succession, comes Marco Holt, comes Luke Schofield, and comes Harry Paine. Top 4 finish for Harry. Congratulations. However, Marco Holt will be delighted. Another podium for him. Luke Schofield, another 3rd place there for Luke. Josh Williams in 5th. Ollie Sims in 6th, and then behind we've got Bill Harris, Isaiah Devine and Noah Guidry surrounding the final few corners now. But what a result once again, much like we've seen from him so far this season. Clayton Edmunds starting this season in the MKGP 50s and on pretty hot form.
Yeah, and he's one of those riders that's on an absolute win streak as Isaiah Devine comes across the line just to beat Noah Guillory there to pick up 8th place just ahead of the number 41. So they round out the race for this race 1 for the Mini GP 50s.
But we're getting ready to go for this one. Lights are on, getting ready, and there we go, lights off, and Clayton Edmunds, an absolute rocket of a start into turn 1, holds on to the lead of this one. Harry Paine has had a little bit of a poor start, dropped back behind a couple of riders. It looks as though Warwick Brady has had a monster of a start. Warwick Brady making up multiple positions off the line. Yeah,
lightning off the start there from Warwick Brady. Really good reactions from the number 99 and just climbing up a few positions there. Harry Paine has dropped back a few positions, and a good move there from Joshua Williams up the inside of Warwick Brady. So he's reclaiming that position there. You can see Ollie Sims just behind Harry Paine as well. He's trying to make up some positions at the same time. Good start from Isaiah Devine now. He's just managed to get up ahead of a couple of riders there as well. Just behind Isaiah Devine is Bill Harris. So Bill Harris has dropped back a few positions there from 6th spot on the grid. So he's going to be looking to try and regain those positions. Clayton Edmunds already cleared off at the front. And we've got a little bit of a battle for second here brewing between the number 58, Marco Holt, and the number 64 of Luke Schofield. Of course, Luke Schofield, a little bit of a gap between him and Marco Holt, so he's going to want to try and close that in. The gap at the front just stretching out a little bit between these guys. It's a second between Holt and Edmunds, and then another half a second back to Luke Schofield. So you can just see how hard that Edmunds is pushing at the front because he's stretching these riders out.
Yeah, he is indeed. And so Clayton, who was targeting the MKGP 50 Championship and a good run in the 70s this season, is off to a great start. Harry Paine, who after losing a couple of positions off the line has already passed Warwick Brady, and Warwick's now losing a position unless he can sweep around the outside and just hold off from Ollie Sims' attack into the final corner, but Harry Paine now trying to get back past the 78 of Josh Williams as they come across the line. The gap was 0.2 of a second, and Harry trying to get the move done. Warwick Brady trying to hold off Ollie Sims, and Ollie trying to move up from 7th into 6th. Warwick Brady, of course, starting in 8th position, but now up to 6th place. So it was a good start from Warwick. He's lost a couple of positions, but it's good to see him back. That's Luke Fitchie off to the side of the circuit, trying to get it restarted. Looks as though he's going to be able to get some laps in on this GP50 bike, so that would be good if Luke can just get his eye in here on this bike. But up at the front, Clayton Edmunds still managing to hold off Marco Holt. However, Marco last time around, fastest lap of 44.6. He took half a second out of Clayton Edmunds, and the gap now is only half a second coming across the line as we start 7 laps left to go.
Pushing really, really hard is the number 58 of Marco Holt, trying to hang on to the coattails of Clayton Edmunds. Clayton going across the line the last time round with a 44.3, so that's the fastest lap of the race to Clayton Edmunds. Harry Paine all over the rear wheel of Joshua Williams. Now this is the battle for 4th, and we've got a train of riders here all fighting for that 4th place, and that is brilliant to see. The number 99 Warwick Brady in there, so he's just getting back on form after recovering from his injuries from last year. Number 73 Ollie Sims, he's in there as well. Of course, Ollie Sims, a rider that we saw last year in the MKGP 50s as well, the 11-year-old competing in the GP50s and the LC40 Elites. He was 11th in GP50s last year as Harry Paine goes up the inside of the number 78, Josh Williams for 4th place. So that's a change of position for 4th. Harry Paine up 1.
Yeah, lovely move there from Harry Paine, getting up the inside of Josh Williams, back up into 4th position where he started last time around. Once again, Marco Holt with another fastest lap of 44.186, was 0.4 of a second faster than Clayton. So at the moment, Clayton and Marco are swapping fastest laps, almost lap for lap. Clayton taking about half a second, Marco takes back half a second. So the gap is sitting at 0.4 of a second at the moment, with 7 laps just about to become 6 as they cross the line left to go. So we're about 50% of the way through this race. Luke Schofield having a quiet race in 3rd, still eyeing up Marco Holt. He's only 1.6 seconds back, and we'll cross the line. It was only 0.1 of a second between Marco Holt. Marco now right on the tail of Clayton Edmunds as they go into the second chicane. And well, Clayton probably wasn't expecting this. Marco's clearly had his Weetabix this morning.
He really wants this win, doesn't he? He's really pushing hard for it. It's gone all Clayton's way so far this weekend, but Marco wants that debut win. It's his debut weekend. He's done his round 1, now into round 2, and he is looking to get that win and take it away from the number 146 of Clayton Edmunds. Still plenty of laps to go in this race, so it could go either way, but he is pushing so hard to stick with Clayton Edmunds. Clayton's been so dominant over the past few races, and now it's down to the number 58 of Marco Holt. But just as I say that, Clayton Edmunds takes the fastest lap of the race, a 44 flat, but Marco Holt is still right on his rear wheel with a 44.1 on that last lap. So both riders setting their personal bests on that last lap. That just proves how hard they are pushing.
Yeah, Marco Holt just trying to see if he can get a better run on the exit down towards, or the off-camber downhill section, sweeping through turn 5 onto the back straight. Very tricky turn 6, taking almost full load, basically trusting the tyres to do their job around that corner, sending it down to the final corner. And Marco Holt, and Marco is really impressive because what he shows is that seamless transition from being able to be competitive in the LC40 Elites onto the MKGP 50 bikes. He's made that jump up this season. It's great to see because he was running really well on the Minimotos last season. Jumps up to the MKGP 50s and straight on the pace, straight on the back of the man that looks as though he is the one to beat for this championship, Clayton Edmunds, as they go back around the back end of the circuit in sector 2, sweeping around turn 3 and turn 4. And well, Clayton, he's got a lot of work to do. Marco looking very racy this morning. A 44 flat is the fastest lap, a 44.1 for Marco Holt. They're matching each other almost lap for lap.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's not an easy transition at all either. Marco will have had to put a lot of work into it over the winter, getting used to the gears, getting used to the different height, getting used to having his rear brake on his foot as opposed to the hands, getting used to having a clutch. There's so many different things to get used to, and then to be able to put it into practice in a race is a completely different thing. And having that extra little bit of experience will help Clayton Edmunds towards the end of this race. But Marco Holt really showing his own and really doing an incredible job as he looks towards the inside, just shows him a wheel because doesn't make it stick this lap around, but he's still got a few more laps to try and make a move on Clayton.
Yeah, he has this with just about 2.5 laps left to go in this one. And if you're Marco there, is that just trying to get in the head of Clayton? Just showing him the front wheel, just getting in the peripheral vision of Clayton going around a bend that he would have been able to see Marco if he just take a quick glance behind. He's just putting that wheel there, just telling him he's still there. He has to defend, but Clayton, to his credit, not taking defensive lines. He's taking that racing line. He's keeping that circuit to an exact premium that he wants, making sure that he takes all the lines he wants. If Marco's going to get past, he's going to have to do it the long way around.
Marco's trying everything to try and get past the number 146 of Clayton Edmunds. Like you say, it is a little bit of mind games. He's just trying to put pressure on and trying to show him that he is there, and also at the same time trying to find a way through and trying to figure out the best way to get past the number 146. So absolutely so. He's definitely going to be playing a little bit of mind, trying to get in his peripheral vision as well, just trying to make sure he's putting pressure on him. And it looks a little bit as if number 58 has something in the bag here, because he looks to be, he seems to be really comfortable behind him, and he looks to be really pushing on.
Yeah, as they come around to start their final lap, there's a little bit of lap traffic up ahead. Will that play into this final lap as they cross the line? Clayton Edmunds leading from Marco Holt by just under 0.2 of a second. Marco looking very racy. In fact, as they go into turn 2, takes a slightly different run into the corner and takes a tighter apex, and that's going to give him a run on exit. But Clayton with a good launch down the inside. Will he get caught out by this traffic? It looks as though they might just about get around it. Marco Holt looks as though he had a much more comfortable run through turn 3, and he's going to put the pressure on Clayton Edmunds as they go around the back end of the circuit, down to the last corner, turn 4 and turn 5. It's going to go down the back straight. Marco Holt, he has to make this move now if he's going to get the race win. They go down the back straight. Clayton Edmunds holds onto the line, takes the apex. He's going to hug that inside. Will it be a run to the line? It's going to be Clayton Edmunds. Marco Holt can't quite get him, but it is Clayton Edmunds, your race winner for the MKGP 50s. 1/10 of a second. What a race there from Marco Holt. Across the line, Luke Schofield comes home in a lonely third, but I'm sure he'll be very happy about that one. Harry Paine, after losing those positions off the line, is fighting his way to hold on to a 4th place finish, which would be a great result for Harry. He does take 4th place ahead of Josh Williams by half a second. Warwick Brady is trying to hold off Ollie Sims and just about manages to hold off Ollie, and behind them Bill Harris is back in 8th position. Isaiah Devine in 9th place, and No Guillory back in 10th. What a result. They get ready to kick off their race, the final race of the weekend for the 50s, and it's a brilliant start from Clayton Edmunds, who takes the lead and holds on to it going into T1. Marco Holt in 2nd position, and behind you can see everyone filtering into their spaces as they go around turn 2 for the first time, and it's a great getaway from Clayton, already breaking away from the pack, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that one. You can see already a seconds or so gap between himself and Marco Holt, and Marco already under threat from the chasing pack behind, including Ollie Sims, and Ollie Sims has had a brilliant run off the line, already up into 4th place, and Ollie chasing down 2nd and 3rd at the moment, and right in front of him he's got Marco Holt, who's now dropped to 3rd place behind the 64 of Luke Schofield. So Luke now up into 2nd place. Not the start that Marco would have wanted, but Isaiah Devine doing really well there. He's climbed up a good few positions there. He's ahead of Joshua Williams, Warwick Brady, Bill Harris and Noah Guillory are all behind him there, so he's climbed up quite a few. They're up to 6th place from 9th on the grid, so an amazing start from Isaiah Devine. He's just dropped down to 7th now. Joshua Williams has managed to get back past the number 90, so but still an amazing start there, as Marco Holt has got into 2nd place ahead of Luke Schofield. So now it's his job to see if he can claw back that gap to Clayton Edmunds. We saw how quick he was in the race earlier on, but Clayton Edmunds has already absolutely checked out at the front. But look at Ollie Sims as well. He's up there. He's in 4th place in this race. A good start from him from 7th place on the grid. He's really close to a podium position now with Luke Schofield. Harry Payne's also in there as well. So all of these riders, any of these guys could find themselves on the podium. But Marco Holt now just stretching that gap a little bit to Luke Schofield. It's a 2.7 gap that Marco has to claw into Clayton Edmunds, and that is a tall order indeed, especially when Clayton's been so fast and so consistent. But Marco Holt, if anyone can do it, it is the number 58, of course rookie in this category, but showing lots and lots of promise. This is the battle a bit further back. This is 99 Warwick Brady. He's battling it out with the number 14 of Bill Harris. That's the battle for 8th. So battles all through this field, which is good to see. Isaiah Devine representing Bermuda. He's managed to get himself in front of Joshua Williams again, so a battle brewing there as well. But these guys fighting for the final spot on the podium, that's where the race is at the moment. Yeah, absolutely so. Marco Holt, Luke Schofield and Ollie Sims all battling, and even Harry Paine tagging himself onto the back of this pack. And in fact, Harry now attacking the back of Ollie Sims, and Ollie's just dropped off the back of Luke Schofield a little bit, so Luke could now fully focus on Marco Holt up ahead. So Marco in second position, of course, his debut season in this category, the Mini GP 50s on the Metrokit bikes. Clayton Edmunds leading away, a 44.8 on the last lap, 0.2 of a second faster than anyone else, and with a 44.7, his best lap shows you that he's putting in those consistent laps behind Bill Harris, of course, moving up into the category that his older brother Ronnie was running in last season and picked up the runner-up spot. Is chasing down Warwick Brady, as you say, making his return to Fab after that nasty collarbone break that he suffered last season. It's great to see Warwick back and getting involved in the racing, and at the moment he's having to do some good defending and chasing down Isaiah, who's probably having his best run we've seen from him so far in Fab, running in a solid 6th place, a 6/10 gap over Warwick Brady and Bill Harris, and with the pair of them battling behind at the moment, it's looking pretty good for Isaiah. He just needs to keep his right lines, keep it on the apex, and make sure he doesn't make any silly mistakes and be picking up a good result in this one. But it's still Clayton Edmunds leading away. However, Marco Holt, last time around, fastest lap of the race, a 44.139. Makes sure that he bridges a little bit of a gap between himself and Luke Schofield out to 1.1 seconds. Harry Paine now up past Ollie Sims, so Ollie now demoted down to 5th position. Isaiah in 6th, Warwick Brady, Bill Harris, Josh Williams and Noah Guillory are your top 10 in this one.
Well, Marco Holt with the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, and half a second quicker than Clayton Edmunds. That's a 1.9 second lead that Clayton has now. Still quite a considerable margin for Marco Holt to try and claw that in, and also, of course, once he catches him, overtaking him is a different thing altogether. But when Clayton is so consistent at the front of this race, it's going to be difficult. Clayton on his limit as well. He set his personal best lap on that last lap. So both these guys really throwing absolutely everything at it, and that's brilliant to see out the front as he comes across the line, 6 laps down in this race.
Yeah, as Marco Holt once again starting to close in on Clayton Edmunds. 2 seconds he's bridged that gap, so he's taken around about half a second off Clayton in that last lap. Doing a good job. In fact, those two matching each other on pace relatively over the last few laps, but Marco just ever so much just edging in. Luke Schofield is now falling 2.6 seconds behind Marco Holt, so Marco very much now on the charge, but with 5 laps left to go, about to turn into 4 as Clayton runs down the back straight towards the final corner. The 146 rider that's taken so many wins so far this weekend in this MKGP 50 class will be looking at making it an absolutely blistering finish to the season. However, that man Marco Holt on the 58 will not let him get away. That gap now down to 1.7. This is exactly what we saw in the last race. Marco Holt had that gap to bridge and he managed to take it, and he only missed out on the race win by a fraction of a second.
Yeah, Marco pushing really hard to see if he can catch up to Clayton Edmunds on the number 146. It is quite a bit of a gap to try and claw in, especially when Clayton is so consistent. It just feels like Clayton's just managing this gap a little bit. It goes out, it comes back in a little bit. So I think Clayton's just managing the pace at the front. It's hard for him to do as well in these sorts of races because, of course, they don't have pit boards around these smaller kart circuits. So it is difficult to do, but he is doing a good job of it. And we'll see what the gap is when they come across the line. But visually, he does look a little bit closer, and he is quite a bit closer. That is 1.1 seconds now. So 8 laps down. He has a little bit of time to see if he can bridge that gap to Clayton Edmunds. Luke Schofield still there in 3rd, and a bit of a lonely 3rd place for the number 64. So he's just making his way around this Lydd circuit. A solid weekend for Luke. He's picked up multiple podiums, and he's looking well on his way to picking up another one as well. Further back there is that battle for 4th place that's going on between Harry Paine, Ollie Sims, Joshua Williams, who's now made his way up and past Isaiah Devine. So Isaiah, he made his way up to 6th place, but now dropped back down to 7th, just behind Joshua Williams. Josh, of course, making his debut in this class this weekend. He's done his round 1. This is the final race of the weekend as well for these guys. Do not forget.
Yeah, Clayton Edmunds now only with a 7/10 margin over Marco Holt. Marco Holt, who has been the only one that's been putting in consistent 43-second lap times, has been taking, well, well, easily 0.6 of a second out of Clayton over the last 3 laps. He's now down to 0.7 of a second, and you can see on circuit it's looking closer and closer and closer. Marco Holt was doing exactly what he did last time around, and now onto the back straight with 2 laps left to go, around to start the last lap. They are almost nose to tail as they come into the final corner. There's a little bit of lap traffic. Will that hamper Clayton? Will it hamper Marco as they're trying to get past the traffic because of no auxiliary? And they do. So Clayton onto the final lap of this one, the last race of the weekend for the MKGP 50s. It's Clayton Edmunds, it's Marco Holt. Marco Holt has reeled in a 3-second advantage that Clayton had just around about 6 laps left to go. And it is the final lap of this one, and there's absolutely nothing in it as they round the back end of the circuit for the final time, down across the crest, down into the turn 4 sweeper, and into the left-hander that's going to lead them on towards the back straight. And down the back straight will go Clayton. Marco's got one more opportunity. He's in the wheel tracks of Clayton Edmunds. Coming up to the final corner. Will he be able to get alongside it? It looks as though Clayton's going to cover off the inside and gets the run to the line. Clayton Edmunds is just going to hold it on the line and takes the checkered flag. And another win here. Marco Holt, fastest lap of 43.735 is not enough. Once again, 2 races in a row, he finishes just 1/10 of a second behind Clayton Edmunds.
But what a ride from Clayton Edmunds to take that win. He set his fastest lap of the race on that final lap, his personal best, and in response to Marco Holt breathing down his neck on that final lap of this final race for the MKGP 50s. Clayton Edmunds is victorious multiple times. Oh, and we've got a bit of a crash on the cool-down lap for Warwick Brady. We just caught him there. He's just went onto the grass and just toppled over. So not the way that he would have wanted to end his weekend in the MKGP 50s, but at least he got it across the line.
Yeah, he did. It's Clayton Edmunds, arms aloft as he goes down the back straight. He is, well, so many wins. He's probably lost count so far this weekend as Warwick Brady gets back up on his feet after a bit of a tumble there on the infield section at the exit of turn 1. But yeah, just looking back down through the field, Luke Schofield, another brilliant podium for him on the 64. Harry Paine, another solid top 5 result in the 50s. Ollie Sims finished ahead of Josh Williams. Isaiah Devine, brilliant 7th place finish for him. You can see the progression that the number 90 has been showing not only over the last year but into this weekend. He's made strides and strides forward. He's now put himself solidly involved in that midfield battle. Bill Harris in 8th. Warwick Brady came home 9th and Noah Guillory in 10th place.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Yeah.